Now, in order to do the next step, you have to have patience. And if you don't have access to a lathe or a machine shop that does this, and I've never known one that could do it. I mean, they do it all over the place, but in this little town they don't. But I use a Dremel. You can use either electric or the battery powered one. And I use these little bits here. This is about 80 grit sandpaper barrel. That's a small one. Or I'll use the larger barrel, which is about 60 grit. And I also use these Christmas tree stainless steel bits. They're about $5 a piece. But what I do is, the best way to do it is take your block and put it on a vise so that you don't have to hold it. So then you can take your Dremel right here and slowly start to work on it. Now, it takes time and patience to do this, but I'll tell you, if you've seen my videos and my motors, it can be done. It's not that hard. You just have to have patience. But you keep on going, and as you do it, I'll take the stroker crank, and I'll have a set of dummy bearings that I put in here, and I'll explain what that is. Dummy bearings are bearings that have gone bad, and like I said, the bearings are press fit into these races. What I do with the bearings, the bad bearings, is I will take the outside of the bearings and I will sand them so that what I can do is I can just drop them into the races and put my new crank in there. What it does is it's a guide. The bearings are no good, but they are an actual representation of what a new bearing would be, and so they guide the crank right down the center of right where it should be, so that when you go to put this together for the final time and press fit the cases together, this one and this one, that you'll know that your crank is going to spin correctly and not catch anything. And I'll tell you, it's no fun to pretend that you can put the crankshaft in and press the cases together and then it doesn't work right. I do that on both sides, and I'll show you my dummy bearings in later videos. But I'll take my my small pieces and slowly work the diameter out from here over to here. I think it takes about 2 millimeters. When you put the crankshaft in, the new stroker crank, all you need is about 1 millimeter clearance between the outer edge and the crank itself, the crank weight, crankshaft weight. That's all you'll need. And sometimes when you put your oil plug in, which I prefer to use, you may need to sand it on the top right here. Now on the oil plug, what I've found, and you can get this, I get all my parts from VT Cycles or vtcycles.com in Hawaii. So everyone asks me where I get these things. They have a website, they have a phone number. Don't waste their time with stupid calls. It's a small shop. But if you want parts and you want solid gold, 5-star service, that's where I go. And God bless them, I've never been to Hawaii, but they've always done me right. Now what I've found is on this plug, which has it has a threaded slot, so that what you can do is put a bolt in there and pull it out. I use JB Weld around it. Remember, there can be no air leaks. So I use JB Weld, and it worked really well. And if I ever need to take this off, all I do is I'll just grind this off, and the plug will pop right off. And then what you want to do is you want to get one of these books. This one is for a 92 and 93. A 94 to 2001 is a slightly different one, and I tell you, I've only seen one of them. I've never seen one that I could buy. You could buy these off eBay for $5. But the newer model for the 94 to 01 engines are just a little harder. And they have a lot of really cool tools in here for the mopeds, but you can't buy them. You can buy some of the parts, but not a lot of them. The tools for the crank and the bearings and different things. So the next step is going to be putting the dummy bearing in and working with the tool here to get it where we want. Now we have to remember that Honda spent millions and millions of dollars on this design for this engine. This engine is bulletproof. It hardly ever breaks. They have spent hundreds of thousands of miles on all their bikes, and their parts don't break. Japanese have done an excellent job on building a very, very good block. So if you have a problem with other engines, other brands, this Japanese 49cc engine block is the gold standard when it comes to building your little deals. So if you have one, God bless you. And God bless the people of Haiti. I hope they get better. And I hope that the earthquake wasn't the first opening of the scroll from God, like the first sign of the seventh sign in that movie. Anyway, we continue.